Welcome back to When Gaming Podcast, where when we play games, we talk games. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Fitzgerald, and with me, as always, is the hot-blooded one, Matt Vieira.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan?
I'm doing well. Happy for those we missed a week. I had a crazy week last week. My daughter brought home a daycare disease and basically wiped out our whole family, so I couldn't really do much last week. But
Yikes.
we're back on it and we're good to go. It just means a lot of what we're playing because I was
Yes.
able to play a little bit of games. I just didn't feel up to recording. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we have quite. It's crazy how a week off will change this. Like I felt like I was putting too much down, but I'll knock off some of the quicker ones right now. So I started playing Modern Warfare Remastered, the campaign.
yep,
Loving it. Really, I never played the first one. So I don't know. I don't have anything to compare the remaster to, but it feels like a 2019, 2018 video game. You know what I mean? Like it feels like
yeah,
a modern day shooter. So they definitely nailed that. Unless it was ahead of its time back when it first came out, and then it just that's how it is. But it does feel great. It looks great. Very much enjoying it. I only beat the first like level in the campaign. You're on like the tanker ship, so
yep.
or the cargo ship. So I just did that. Um, I got over the weekend. I got 4 platinums in these 2 games, two each. Yeah, my name is Mayo, which is essentially a. I was telling Chad from Respawning Fire. It's basically a cheap trophy. It's 99 cents. You get your game on a PS Vita and your PlayStation 4, and you just tap a jar of mayonnaise a bunch of times, like 10,000 times literally, and you get the platinum trophy for the most part. But it had more depth to the story and what kind of like what
How?
story they were trying. Yeah, like it's. I know that sounds insane, right? But it's like it's this jar of mayonnaise talking about its life and how you should be who you want to be. It's kind of cool. It's. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you want an easy platinum. But it definitely wasn't just like a pile of garbage. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like a shit game. There was some thought put into it. You know what I mean? And then they just like, oh, we can add trophies to the PlayStation 4 one, and someone can get an easy platinum. So I got 2 easy platinums on that one, and then this other game called Super Weekend Mode, which is the same thing. You buy it on PlayStation 4, and you also get it on Vita, and you can get 2 platinums. It is basically like I've never played a game like it, but it's kind of like a I don't know, like a Puyo Puyo Tetris type thing where like the hearts are raining down and you got to catch the hearts while shooting up at an enemy and then like
Okay.
dodging skulls and beating up bunnies. The like tagline for it is like catch hearts, smash bunnies, kill enemies. It's a hilarious like and it's like this cute little like cutesy designed like 8-bit game. It was very easy to do as well. I got the 2 platinums in under 5 minutes. That was that. Um, been playing
That's pretty
Apex.
nice.
Been playing Apex Legends since my hand got the stitches out and I got my bandage off. I was able to go back to playing some of my some first person shooters. So I've been missing Apex Legends, especially since when I first got my surgery. They had just released their season 1 content, and so I'm trying to catch up and level up to everybody else that I've been playing with. Yeah, and since the last time we podcasted, we played State of Decay 2. And it kind of got its hooks back into me, and I've been playing a lot of State of Decay 2. While I was on the road, I brought my laptop with me, and it's one of the Play Anywhere games with Microsoft, which I can't get enough of those games because you can literally play them anywhere. If you have your Xbox at home, you got it. If you got a computer that can play them on the road, you can play them or wherever. So I was able to play with my laptop, play State of Decay 2, and I made a lot of progress in the kind of the campaign mode. There's not a campaign mode, but it's like the story. There's a main storyline you can follow, and so I've been doing a lot of the main storyline missions and building up my base. I actually have a new base. It's a church on a hill. It's
Ooh.
very nice. It's very nice.
Ooh.
It's very nice. It's got a lot more spots for me to build. build stuff on, so that's cool. Still playing Persona 4 Golden. I'm deep in combat now, and now I wish there was less combat. I honestly, the last time we left it off, it was like I was like almost 3 hours in with no combat. But now it's like it's very confusing how the personas work, and I know that for someone who hasn't played it, that's kind of like, I'm just like it's very esoteric, but
Yep.
it's like the inventory and like the items you have are all very confusing, and so I think I gotta play it a little more to get a hold of it. But I do like the grindy RPG combat style, turn based. I do like that, and it has some very interesting like unique like qualities to it. Like there's certain days you can battle people. You can only battle people when it's raining, so you have to look at the weather forecast, and you have to save certain people, and you can only save them on days that it's raining, or like that's the days they'll be in trouble. So you have to like, if you're gonna train and like level up, you have to do it before you get to the point where you have to like use your powers and go battle and things like that. I'm doing a
Oh,
terrible job
okay.
describing it because a lot of the words and terms for things I'm not understanding because this is my first Persona game. But it has a lot of unique things like that. And then the last game I played this week, Tacoma. I had it on my PlayStation for a while. It was one of the, I believe it was a cheaper game on PS Gold, which is kind of like games with gold on Xbox. Like they have games
Mhm.
for free every month, and also like some games that are discounted. I believe it was a discounted game. I don't think it was free, but it's only $20 new. It's a great like it would be classified as a walking simulator. The first game that they did and now the uh, Fulbright, I believe, did Tacoma. Um, the first game they did was Gone Home, which is another walking simulator, another great story. You walk around, you're in this space station, and you go and and you go and you're trying to figure out what happened to the crew. You're trying to grab this AI thing, and it's very cool. You can pick up every bit of like anything that's around, notes, magazines, and everything has like a story to it. It's very very cool. So I would suggest playing that. I got a platinum in that as well. But that was just kind of like one of those games where like I really enjoyed it. So I played once through for the story, and then I went back and played again to get all the items for the platinum.
Yep.
And I did enjoy it. I was able to get the once I knew what I was doing, I was able to get the platinum in under an hour. But playing through it normally, I think it took me 2.5 hours, something like that, the first time. So very highly recommend. All right, let's set sail. Let's
You wanna figure out where we want to go first? Well, by the way,
yeah.
we're playing Sea of Thieves, so this episode's gonna be a little interesting because this game takes some coordination. So we may have some good little bloopers of us really failing because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing,
Let's hope we don't
and
find
I'm gonna
anybody.
single myself out. So yeah, let's hope. Let's.
I'm gonna grab us a gold mission so
Okay.
we can just go dig up some buried treasure. That's pretty analog.
I'm
Be able.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah. So actually, I'm surprised that like when playing Decay, State of Decay 2, when we played, and then I also played it on my own a little bit too. It's an interesting game to have a story, and so to know that you're progressing further and further is actually kind of cool. It's like, okay, hey, there's more to it than just like the tutorial, which really didn't do much. At least for me, it didn't. But I was like, okay, cool. But now we've got, there's more to it. So that's kind of cool. So I saw that night when you said you were making progress in the story. I was like, oh, interesting. So,
Yeah.
um, and then also Tacoma, dude. You were Chad was talking about Tacoma because of you on Respawning Fire, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, I really want to play. And he was like, oh, it's on Xbox Game Pass. By the way, it is not on Xbox Game Pass because I looked for it. Um, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like, dude, this would have been awesome. And yeah, so that was a slight disappointment. Um, but yeah, so what I played though, so this is gonna spark a little bit of a conversation real quick. But I played some Black Ops 4, and I did some League play, and I don't know if you've ever used this on Xbox, but the looking for group. Uh, you
No,
can
I've
like
never done.
you can put on there look for group and say the game, and you can kind of put like, oh, I'm looking for this type of people, like mic required, different filters,
Oh,
and
okay,
then
yeah, yeah.
people can join you. Well, so I got some people and it was fun. We played a game. Well, then we got this guy and he's like, all right, and so we get into a game and he starts listing off people's like cities that they live in, and he's like, hey, does anybody live here? And this guy's like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, what is he doing? And he never says, and he's like, does anybody live here? And nobody answers. He goes, all right, well, he's getting booted. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And he
What?
was I yeah, so I figured it out. What he was basically doing was what's called DDoSing, and he was basically overloading people's routers with information, and it, technically not like illegal in the way that he was using it, but there are cyber criminals who do DDoSing, and and basically it overloads your router to where your game thinks that you're lagging, and so you'll either be walking into walls, or you'll think you're lagging out, so you'll just leave the game or turn your Xbox off. And so we were winning games. We played like 3 or 4 games like this, and I was like, okay, this doesn't like I'm not really into this. And I even
Yeah.
said it. I was like, hey, let's actually try to win this game, guys. And they're like, okay. And then halfway through, he does it to a guy, and he goes, I got bored. And I'm like, that was just any fun. And he's like, everybody
Yeah.
who's on the top of the leaderboards for league play right now on Xbox does this. He goes, 100% guaranteed. And he goes, if you ever see this person, or this person inside a lobby, just leave because they are booters. And that's what they call themselves booters. And I'm like, holy
So,
crap. So yeah,
so how do
so
they?
oh,
How do asking where people live? What
they
is
were
that?
seeing he was seeing everyone's IP address, and so you see their IP address, you can
Oh,
see where. And he's like, okay, so yeah, for
so
me,
you're
he's
talking about
like
the other
Oklahoma
team?
City.
The
Yeah,
other
so he's
team?
looking at everybody. He's looking at
Oh,
everybody. And so he's like, okay,
wow.
hey, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I'm like, that's me. Like, I live there. He goes, okay, I'm not going to kick you then. I was like,
Oh shit. Okay, so he's trying to figure out who was on his team and who wasn't. Right.
yep,
What IP addresses were? What? That is crazy. That is
yeah,
crazy. I'm gonna swoop around the other side of this island because the treasure chests are on
okay,
the other side.
you're good. Yeah, so yes,
Um,
that was pretty whack.
that's
So
unfortunate. That's
it was,
unfortunate.
and so because of that, I actually had to go and I actually abandoned um, Black Ops 4 for the time. Not abandoned. I shelved it. Sorry. I shelved Black Ops 4 for the time being because I just like I don't want to play a game like that.
Yeah. No. Definitely.
So yeah, it was kind of it was very very sad in that instance. Um, but yeah, so I played that a little bit, and then I went and I played What Remains of Edith Finch,
Cool.
and I beat it, and okay, honestly, I was a little disappointed in the end, but
Okay.
not terribly. It it just kind of ended, and I was like, oh, that's how we're gonna. Okay, like that's fine, I guess. And I was like, well, that was a little unfortunate, but I loved the story. I loved, you're learning about this family and what happened, and then I think that if I go back, because I looked there to get at some of the achievements, you actually have to play it again. And I think if I went back and I played it again, I think I would uncover more of the story.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I need to do, and I'm very tempted to get more gamer score out of it. Um, but
Okay.
uh,
Let's go.
but great game, visually gorgeous.
I
I don't know
downloaded it
where
on my
you are.
Xbox. I'm going to. I am definitely gonna play.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's definitely worth it. Like I said, it took me only 2 hours really to beat it. So great game, like visually awesome. Like I've never really played a game that was that cool.
Yeah.
Visually, like in like the different art styles. Ah,
There's a bunch of games that I downloaded from Games Pass that I'm gonna like be playing soon, hopefully. I downloaded Hellblade. I downloaded What Remains of Edith Finch. I downloaded. No, I just love having Games Pass. Like I can just tag games,
yes.
download them, and like when I want to play them, I can just go and play them. But I think the two of the chests that we're looking for, if you bring up that
Yeah, one of
map.
them's up here. Yep.
Oh wait, did I already find one? Did I?
You
There used
found
to be
one.
two. Oh, did I? Did
Yeah,
I
there's
not
two.
pick it
You
up all
found
the
one.
way? Oh,
I think
all
the other
right.
one's right here.
All right. I didn't hear myself hit it.
Oh.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I hit the most right one.
Yeah. I think I got it right here.
Nice,
Yeah, I
nice,
got
nice.
it.
We got it.
And they're all on me.
Oh God.
It's okay. I'm good. Yeah. So I played. I beat What Remains of Edith Finch. I was very happy that I
Almost
finally
dead.
actually completed a game. 'Cause I hadn't done that in a while. Like actually beaten the game entirely. So I was very happy with myself to see the credits roll.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and then I played Tales of the Borderland. So I had that. That was a Games for Gold a while back, and so I downloaded that a long time ago, and I just never got around to playing it. And then with the Borderland hype, I was like, I think it's time for me to play this game.
Is
And
that
so I played.
the Telltale game?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
So I played a little bit of it, and honestly, like it's awesome. I played Walking Dead season 1 Telltale game. Loved it. I just loved the idea, the concept behind the game, and this one is just as good. Like right now, I'm not very far, but it's just such an awesome. I love the art style. I love uh the decision making. Oh, goodness, you died.
Yeah, I died. I'll respawn.
Ah.
I dropped my chest right at the water's edge.
Okay. I'm gonna try to take this one. Yeah, so I played that, and that was a lot of fun. And then the third, so again, and I've played some more Kingdom Hearts. So my goal is that the major game that I'm gonna be playing right now is Kingdom Hearts. So I'm gonna try to beat that as soon as I can, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm now in the Monsters Inc. world, and I'm a huge Monsters Inc. fan, and
Yeah.
so that being with like Mike and Sully, that's so much fun. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
the cool.
awesome.
The game is awesome, but I have difficulties in it because I'm like, man, I feel like I'm not half the time I'm not playing the game right. Like there's so much more to the game, and I'm just not doing it. I'm just playing one way, and I'm kind of like, oh man, I really wish I could,
I I
learn
think
other mechanics.
yeah.
So
I think that's what's gonna end up happening to me with Persona 4. I don't I was never really one to like with RPGs, especially JRPGs, to like really get like down in the nitty gritty and like that kind of. So
yeah,
I think that I'm gonna play a very high level version of it that works for me, but I don't think I'll ever get out of it what someone else that is like that's what their genre is. You know what I mean? I don't think I'll ever
yeah.
get out of it like that kind of thing. Yeah. All right, we got one more chest here.
Um, yes.
Oh yeah,
There's
one
a
more.
leak in the boat.
No, I think just because it's raining. I think it's
Just because it's
filling
raining.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the last one is right in front of us. Grab it quick. I'll put it back.
Okay. Yeah. So going into news, since that was all of our playing. There was some serious news things, but let's start with I'm going to start with a tiny one. And this one, I don't know. Are you a Splinter Cells fan at all?
I used to be. I mean, I played the first two, I believe, and played them all the way through. But I think that's where I stopped. I do like the games. I think I just kind of took another path at that time in my life when the other games came out.
Yeah. So this was an interesting one because I a lot of I enjoy them. I enjoy Splinter Cell games. They're a lot of fun, especially when you play co-op. But the question always kind of was the game that just kind of fell into the back of my head, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And I never really thought too much about it. And then I saw this article, and I'm like, hey, there hasn't been a Splinter Cell game in a long time. Well, this comes from GameSpot, and the idea is that Ubisoft came out and like responded to people, I guess, asking like, hey, where is the next Splinter Cell game? And I guess people who came and started working at Ubisoft kept asking, hey, I want to work on the Splinter Cell game, and they're like, no. Like, you don't just like that's not. I know, granted, you might be someone, but they were just like telling, no, we want to have you work on something else, and that was just a very hot project for everybody.
Yeah.
And then their response was, they are not going to release it. It's not even in development right now, until they can come up with something new. Until they can bring something new to the table, they're like, yeah, we're not going to release one. We're not even going to start really develop until somebody says that there is until somebody says that they
Good on
like a
you.
new concept. I'm like, yeah, good for
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Good on you guys. You know, you're
yeah,
not
good
gonna
on
sit
you
there and give us
guys.
the same old, same old.
I wish more developers would say stuff like that about their franchises, especially ones that are so storied like that. You know?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I just thought
that's
that was a
cool.
very interesting take that they took, and that they were like, yeah, you know what? No, like just because y'all are asking for it doesn't mean we're gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
We're gonna give you something new when it comes. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I'm game for that.
yeah. And also like I guess stealth games are not really my number one choice, so I'm not really clamoring for it. But if a Splinter Cell game that is like all new and there's some new fresh ideas with it came down the road like in a year or two, I might be interested. You know, I just
Yeah,
might be interested. Yeah, I like
yeah.
that.
So again, it was a small little story, but I thought it was an interesting one just because it is such a big, you know, developing company for video games in there. It's a big game. It's one that's very popular. So people are like, yeah, you know what now?
All right, let's go
Let's
turn
see.
this treasure in before we go to the
Okay.
next island because we're pretty close.
Yeah, the next island's kind of far for that one at least. That's one. It's the riddle. This one, I'll find.
God damn,
Actually, one of my favorite parts of this game. Oh, actually, there's. Is that it? No, that's not it.
we're sailing right into the storm, so we might as well go somewhere else because it's gonna
Okay.
be tough getting back there.
I would say
So
just flip a complete Yui, and
yeah,
we'll go to Discovery Ridge, which is kind of
all right,
far.
I'm gonna keep turning.
Where's this?
Tell me when we're pointing towards it.
Yep. Keep on moving. You're gonna want to go northwest.
Okay.
I try to find this other island. Yeah. So high school eSports. Tell me about that.
Oh, right. So this is very exciting and kind of cool. So you know, esports in schools is not something new. There's a bunch of colleges, I believe, has a program now,
Yep.
and a few others. Like you can get scholarships to go to college, but there's actually 8 states right now in the United States that have high schools that participate in varsity esports playing. So that means if you're in high school, just like you can make the varsity football team or the varsity basketball team, you can make your varsity esports team, which I think is cool, right? But
I'm all
also,
about that.
Rhode Island is involved in it. Rhode Island is one of the 8 states, and so I did a little digging, and how it works is, in Rhode Island at least, there's a collective of schools that all play together. So in high school, like when I went to North Providence High School, we didn't have a track team. So if someone wanted to do track, you'd have to go train at another school and run track and field for that school. So
Okay.
how this works is a bunch of schools all have one esports team, and so they all play. I don't know who they play as, maybe just as Rhode Island, and they play other schools in other
Okay.
states.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very cool. I really wish, like, you know, I was just, you know, out of high school 12 years too late.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back
Yeah.
because all my time playing Halo in high school would have been worth it. Would have been more, I guess, more acceptable in school. Oh, pretty cool. Would
Yeah.
you, if you could go back to school, would you be involved in any esports teams?
If my parents would allow me to, I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But I doubt they actually would have. I played basketball in high school, but I
yeah.
quit my senior year just for other, various reasons. So, but yeah, no, I would definitely try to. I think it's awesome. I actually just before we got on, I saw on my Twitter the college Call of Duty League. I'm like, wait, what? There's a college Call of Duty League? And so I guess there is a college Call of Duty League. I'm like, all right, that's
pretty
cool. Like,
Yeah.
go guys! Like, you're doing what I wish I could have done.
Yeah, I think
Granted,
that
again,
I would.
parents would have
I
killed
would,
me.
I think that I would wanted to. I don't know if I would have been good enough, to be honest. Like
Yeah, true.
I like to play video games a lot. Like I like it a lot, but I do not consider myself an elite player in anything. So, and I've always felt that there's a lot of really great players out there that would probably be better than me. I'd give it a shot for sure. And if not, I could be like the water boy or something. Like I could hang out and like, I mean honestly, in the Overwatch, well not in the, well yeah, in Overwatch League they have coaches, but back in when I used to work for MLG, when I worked for MLG, the Halo teams, it was a team of 4, and they had a coach that stood behind them and like called out plays, like literally right behind them, like standing behind them,
Oh,
looking at all their
interesting.
screens. And that person doesn't have to be like like super good at it.
No, you just gotta be
Just has to know.
smart, really.
Yeah, yeah, right. You just gotta know the map. You gotta know what's going on. So I could probably do that. You know,
Yeah, that's
little.
cool though. Yeah, I do. I enjoy to see esports growing more than just this thing. It's it's branching out further into lives, and like you said, coaching's a big thing. And there's like a lot of the, at least in like the Call of Duty World League, there's a lot of folks that they play. Like there's a guy who retired, and this year, like in the middle of the season, he was like, you know what, I'm done playing, and I'm not. He knows, like I'm not up to par with what everyone else is,
Yeah.
and he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna stop playing, but I'm gonna coach. And then he actually became the coach of E United. E United dropped their coach and picked this guy up, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. Granted, it sucked for the old coach, but I mean, it's these people who are staying in the industry, and I think that's
I think you're gonna
important.
see. I think you're gonna see what happens in when I say regular sports, I'm talking like like more traditional sports. I think you're gonna see this happen in esports where you have players retire. I bet some become commentators, just like they do in like NBA,
Yep,
NFL, MLB. You're gonna see some become reporters. That's what'll happen. I mean, that's in order to like because someone's knowledge like that, like the reason why they hire ex NFL players to be commentators, because they have knowledge in their field. So, all right, let's drop that anchor.
dropping the anchor.
You know,
Yep,
so it makes sense. And in esports, same thing. You have someone who has the inside scoop on a certain game. They're going to be perfect to be, an Overwatch commentator, a
yep.
Call of Duty commentator, League of Legends, whatever it is, whatever you have. So I think that is very cool. It's cool to see high schools getting involved now, not just colleges. The next thing up on our list here is something that like I didn't even. So Star Wars Celebration is happening right now in Chicago, or it's over now. It just ended. It was over the weekend.
Yep.
Every time a Star Wars Celebration happens, the number one thing that I'm thinking of is there's a new Star Wars trailer coming because the movie Episode 9 is coming out this year, which we know
Yep. On
now.
Christmas Day.
Yep, the title is Rise of Skywalker. Very excited.
Yep.
Very, very excited. I was actually up when I was up in Toronto. I watched the live stream while I was loading up some trucks, getting our equipment out of Canada. I was able to have it in my ear in the ear pod, and I didn't watch it. I just listened to it. Very, very awesome little panel. But I didn't even think they were going to debut. Like I didn't even put two and two together that they would be. Like I know that. I guess I'm putting the horse before the carriage before the horse here. Jedi Fallen Order was announced by EA, developed by Respawn, and at Star Wars Celebration they released a trailer. When before all we had was the picture, which was like this like old looking like stone slab with a circle on it, and like this like old like I don't know what would you describe it as? It's like it looked like
Yeah, it was
an
like a
old
tablet, like a tablet.
yeah like a it has like a symbol on it, and then had a broken lightsaber laid across it. Um, and so that's all we had before, and then we had the phrase "Don't stand out." And a lot of people speculated what that would be, and then we finally found out that in this game, Jedi Fallen Order, this happens right after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, after Order 66. Right, Order 66, am I right? Is that
Yep.
not
Order
right?
66. You're right.
Yeah, right after Order 66 was executed, and they're hunting down Jedi. And so this is
Yeah. Love the story.
you play as a Jedi, and you are not trying to stand out. And so the trailer is awesome because you have this guy who the actor is Cameron Monaghan. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, but he's the Joker in Gotham. He's on Shameless. Really great actor. Very excited to see that he's in this. You see him like do a job, and then all of a sudden he tries to like save somebody, like from getting hurt on the
Yeah,
job. And
he's in hiding, and I think that's
yeah,
awesome because they're basically getting persecuted. Jedi's are getting persecuted in this time, and they're getting hunted down.
yeah,
And yeah, he's just got a normal job, and just
yeah. And so he tries to save his name is Cal, and he tries to save one of his friends on the job, and he uses a force like grab. And then that's it. Everybody knows now he's a Jedi, and so now they're gonna start hunting him down. And so they have these Jedi turned Sith like hunters. I forget what their names are, but the one in the trailer is the one that's wearing like the mask.
Inquisitors.
Inquisitors. There you go. And so they're hunting down the Jedi, and you are probably gonna be running from this person the entire time. I would imagine. So it looks awesome. And the number one takeaway from this, for an EA Star Wars game that we have just been mercilessly shitting on because of the last two abominations they released, no microtransactions and no multiplayer. I'm not particularly happy about no multiplayer because I think they really did a really good job with multiplayer in the last two Battlefront games. I thought they were good. I thought online was good. I thought multiplayer was good. But this is a different kind of game. This is a campaign-only game. This is, you're following the story of Cal. You're not playing with anybody else, and there's no microtransactions. Yep. It's a very specific
I'm
kind of
happy
game.
about that part.
Yeah, very happy
no
about
more
that part.
microtransactions. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I'm feeling good about this. I love it. I love Star Wars, so I'm very excited, jazzed up.
Yep, I'm very excited too. And like you said, I think the story. Oh goodness!
You got a powder keg guy.
I didn't even know this existed.
Oh yeah.
But I love the story. I love the idea of you are. It's Order 66. It's right after, you watch the episode 3 and all the Jedis are getting slaughtered by the clones that they worked side by side, and now you're one. I believe what I've heard is you were actually one of the Padawans that survived, and so you haven't even completed all your training, and so you're very new to everything. And even though you're older, I think it's like maybe a few years after episode 3, so you've grown up, but you were a Padawan, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I can see that working really well in a video game of you're learning how to use your forces, how to use your force powers. So I think that's a good way to do it. A good like leveling system.
Yeah.
So
it's very exciting.
I'm excited.
Coming out November 15th of this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Very.
So looking forward to that, and then
Yeah.
Go for it.
So very excited. It's coming out this year, but you know what's not coming out this year? PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5. Yeah, I know. I'm only, the only reason I ever say that it's coming out this year is just in spite of a single person, and that would be Holden. So just decided with Chad because Holden gives him so much crap. I just have to. So yeah.
That's fair. Are you so you did you look up any of this? Did you see any of the stats that they're saying that PS5 is gonna have supposedly? No?
Okay, so I looked it up. I know that it's got like a Ryzen, it's an AMD Ryzen CPU, and it's got a Navia graphics card. I'm not the biggest techie guy.
But
Ryan,
it's
got ray tracing.
Ryan, how many teraflops? How many flops? How many flops? I don't know.
I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
I hate that, Ryan. I hate it when they tell me teraflops. That means nothing to me. Show me.
It means absolutely nothing.
It means nothing. Show me gameplay, right? Show me gameplay. Show me what the controller looks like. Show me what the box looks like. Tell me how much it is. You want to know what I don't want to know? How many teraflops? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what that means.
It means
either.
less than nothing to me. Less than nothing. That's not possible, but somehow it does. It means less. It's so stupid. So I don't care about the teraflops.
It is extremely.
What does interest me is that they're saying it's 8K compatible, and I'll tell you why that interests me. Because Sony is one of the tastemakers in technology and in TVs And if they say that 8K compatibility is important for the Sony PlayStation 5, that means that 8K TVs as like a standard are not too far behind, or at least not as far as we think they are. I,
See, and I think they are. I think because they technically exist, and to
yeah,
me,
right. But very like it was like it
4K
was yeah. Hey, no, go
4K
ahead,
is,
go
is
ahead.
as good as you're gonna get. 4K is as good as you're gonna get, in my opinion. Honestly, once you start getting into the 8K realm, the human eye just can't decipher it any differently. So it's a better number, but really I don't see any difference.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
that's my
yeah,
issue with it. I'm like you it's cool. You can advertise it all day long, but in the end, the human eye can only visually see so much, and when you get into 8K, it's getting a little heavy, and it's I'm like, ugh, yeah, I get advertising it, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not really that much to advertise. So that's just my personal opinion on that. But I do agree with you. Sony's they've like you said, I bet you they're going to come out with their own TV that's going to match it and be like, look, this is compatible with the PS5 or
oh,
whatever. Of course,
absolutely. Yeah,
I love that little line. It's the PS5, but we're not really going to call it that yet. What? Just,
yeah.
we know you're going to call it that yet. Like we know it. Like what else would you call it?
This is another classic case of them saying, it's PlayStation 5, but we're not going to call it that, unless you guys like it. And they'll be like, like nod, nod,
Yeah.
wink, wink. Do you guys like PlayStation 5? Because if not, we'll
No.
call it. We'll call it PlayStation 5. It's one of those
Yeah.
things. Like yeah. But I'm excited. So it's going back to what you're talking about, how Sony will make a TV compatible with PlayStation 5, and it'll be expensive, and you won't necessarily need it. But tech guys or people that are techies are gonna want it. They did this with PlayStation. I think it was PlayStation. Was PlayStation 3 the one where they had the 3D TV they made for it? I believe it was PlayStation 3.
I'm not sure. I
So
don't remember that.
PlayStation 3 made their own. I believe it was PlayStation 3. I'm gonna stick by that, unless someone calls me out on Twitter at Matt from RI. Call me out. Um, it was like a 32-inch TV that you came with glasses, and you could play your games in 3D. And it was a Sony-made TV. It was specifically for PlayStation. I don't believe it was 4K because I don't think it was at the time. 4K wasn't like a standard.
Yeah.
But it was 1080p definitely, and it had some cool like 3D effects to it for your PlayStation 3. So Sony will definitely do something like that again. I can see it now. Like this is like they'll release the console, and then they'll put their TVs in Best Buy, and they'll put a little sticker on the bottom right, PlayStation 5 compatible. What does that mean?
hmm
But someone who doesn't really know the details of it will be like, well, I need that to play my PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I got
Again,
Tommy Treasure.
4K stuff, and I
I
don't
don't
know, but what I did, this is what I loved. Um, Solid state drive. Finally, like
Yep.
that's genius. That's what consoles have needed. I get that they're more expensive, but it's like that's what they needed. Like really, it makes things so much easier, uh, and so much nicer when you
Yeah.
don't have again. I don't know if you read a lot of it or you listened to the interview or like people were talking about the interview, but I guess they demoed it in a way like it was a silver box that you couldn't see into it at all, uh, but you could but he ran what was it Spider-Man and
Yeah.
said okay, I'm going to fast travel, and it took him 15 seconds to fast travel, and then he did it on this PS5 dev kit, and it ended up taking a second to get him to the place, like less than a second or something. Did the
Yeah.
same exact thing, and he's like, "Look, yeah, see." And so
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
wild.
"Yeah, but
That
I'm like,
yeah.
you guys should have done this a long time ago."
Yeah. Well, the SS I actually so I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I bought it long. I mean, I got it pretty recently. I bought it long after the PlayStation 4 Pro first came out. It doesn't have an SSD. It probably should have had an SSD standard with it. Because like as it being pro, it should have like pro features. Coming.
Yep.
That's what I think. But I bought a drive, a SSD drive right away. The prices right now of SSD drives are coming so far down. It's a no-brainer. Like that's going to be in every new console. Every new console, every new
Yeah.
computer should have SSDs. It's just what's going to be the standard. It's what's cheap now. I mean, I would when I was buying micro SD cards for my Switch when it first came out, I couldn't believe it. I hadn't bought a memory card in I don't know,
Oh, goodness.
a few years at that point, and I was thinking like, oh damn, if I'm gonna get like 128 gigabyte micro SD card, it's gonna run me a couple $100. I got that for like $30. I couldn't believe it. And it was like a good quality one too. Like the price of memory has gone down significantly. So SSD should be a standard. It's good to see
Yes.
that like that's like a you're off to a good start when you're saying your console you're hitting all the right things with me at least. SSD. All right, yeah, you should have that. That's what you should absolutely have.
Yeah. So, but I did. I was very happy.
Yeah.
To
Another
see all
thing-
that stuff. And the
Yeah,
backwards compatible.
Right, exactly. I was just gonna say, yeah, backwards compatible, baby. Love it, love it, love it. I love it. Need it. That should be. It's so unfortunate that the PlayStation 4 is so crippled in that area. Like, not only is it crippled with it not being backwards compatible, but also it doesn't even have a Blu-ray drive. Like, is that
Yeah.
not weird? It doesn't have. Oh no, I'm sorry. It doesn't have a. Does it not have a 4K Blu-ray drive? Like, you can't play 4K movies. But you can play regular Blu-ray. You just can't play 4K. I believe that's what it is. Well, like that's something that Sony
Interesting.
should have. Blu-ray is their technology. That's something you should have.
Well, I remember the PS3 came out, and that was like my family's Blu-ray player. Was a
Yes.
PlayStation 3. That's the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
my dad went and bought another one, because at
Yeah.
that time it was a better Blu-ray player than a Blu-ray player. Like that's
Yep, it was yeah.
So yeah, for them not to have that and already have that nice of a ability, it's crazy. But yeah, I do. It was interesting to kind of read and listen to that article, and him talking to, I think it's the Sony guy, whose name was Cerny. And there was times where he'd ask him something and he would just not answer, or he would just completely avoid the question. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you're saying a lot by not saying a lot. And,
Yeah.
I thought that's just funny. But it's like, yeah, at those points you can't say much. So it makes sense. I get it. But I'm happy. This is the interesting part, that Sony has now taken the first punch. They have announced
Yes.
something before Xbox, even though Xbox has talked about the next gen, and they've said Scarlet, and they've not said any kind of specs. And
Did
I was
they
like,
not-
okay,
Did they talk about an Xbox One S coming out soon that's discless?
actually, it came. They announced it today. I saw it
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
That it's the so this is actually kind of funny. I saw that Wario64 on Twitter. He called it the Xbox One SAD, which is the Xbox One S all digital. SAD, S all digital. And I'm like, oh, that's a terrible name, but like
You
that's
gotta
what
know
they
you're
just did to
doing that.
themselves.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm like, goodness. So yeah, so you have that going on. But it came out today. It's $250. And
Yeah.
it comes with, it's 1 terabyte, and it comes with 3 games preloaded. One of them actually being Sea of Thieves, Minecraft, and then I think Forza Horizon
Yeah.
4. So pretty decent games for free.
Yeah,
Even
not
though
bad.
like you can get all those with Game Pass, but I mean,
Right, and they're
Don't
all
need Game Pass
Microsoft.
then
They're
if
all
you don't.
Microsoft owned. Like they're Forza and Sea of Thieves and Microsoft Studio, and Minecraft is now owned by Microsoft. So, they're not really going out on a limb to give anybody some free games. This is kind of just like, oh yeah, we got these laying around. Let's dust them off and throw them in the console.
exactly.
$250 is kind of expensive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. Yeah,
$250 is
I
kind
would
of
agree.
expensive. I
Because
understand.
we talked about this.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we did. We did. Right.
We were talking like 200 max, and
200 max.
ideally
I
like
was
what,
thinking
like
150.
150. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
that's what I would
150.
have preferred.
Yeah.
But
It's just
250,
tough because if you rewind the clock to when the Xbox One S first came out, which was the upgrade to the original Xbox, the Fat Boy, the big old Xbox. If you had said, okay, you have the Xbox One S and the Xbox One S discless, the all digital, one's 300, one's 250, I would have been like, yeah, that's exactly what the price point should be. This is the very end of the Xbox One's life cycle. You're not going to be releasing anything groundbreaking. This is just an Xbox One S with no disc drive, right? It should be a lot cheaper. This should be, yeah.
So I went and it is like everything you're saying is absolutely true, and I was like, well, maybe it's a smaller box, maybe it's gonna be a really small, just enough for the terabyte hard drive, and that's kind of really it. And I looked, and there is nothing on the dimensions of the box, and I'm like, it's really kind of sad that they didn't do anything.
It's probably
like that.
the same.
I'm like,
it's probably the same.
That's my thing too. It has to be the same. So that was kind of disappointing in that aspect.
That's
I'm like,
too bad.
so it's the biggest thing is you just took a piece of hardware off and you're taking $300, $50 off it. No, come on.
I mean, I could have gotten on Black Friday. I could have bought a Xbox One S for $250, like with a disc drive.
Yeah.
Why not? If it's gonna be the same price, why not have the disc drive? That's how I feel about digital and disc games. If I have the option and I really want the physical game, I'm gonna go out and buy a physical game because guess what? It's the same price as buying a digital download.
Exactly.
So I want to hold something. That's just how I am with that. I want to hold something.
Yep.
But yeah, 250 I think is just a tad on the steep side. I like where they're going. I like the idea, especially with Game Pass being so popular. Actually, I mean not being so popular, but being so like they're kind of like they want to push it. They want to push Game Pass.
Yep.
Perfect opportunity to push Game Pass here. Like you don't have to have any disc. You get the service. It's like Netflix for your Xbox. Play any games you want.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I think it's just even at $200. If it was $200, I would have been like, yeah, that's it right there. That's where you want to be. Much better. You're gonna get much more people buying this, especially at the end of the life. And I guess it all depends, too, on what they say at E3. What if Xbox goes rogue, or Microsoft goes rogue, and they say, there's no
Hold on, what tinfoil hat are you putting on this time?
Yeah, I always have every podcast I have my tinfoil hat on. When I get home, it's like when I get home, I take my shoes off, I put my sweatpants on, I put my tinfoil hat on. What kind of conspiracies am I going to get into tonight? But what if Xbox just decides to say, hey, like the next generation consoles, quote unquote, they're not new consoles. This is upgraded hardware. But it's just Xbox games, right? Everything's the same across. Your Xbox, the new stuff will look better on the new stuff, but it'll still play on your old stuff. And then that gives this console, you can drop the anchor. That gives this console a lot more life in my eyes, because then you're like, okay, in a year this Xbox isn't going to be obsolete. Just like if Sony came out right now, because they just announced PlayStation 5, they said it's not coming this year, we assume it's coming next year, 2020. They release a discless system. It's $50 cheaper than their Slim, and but like they also just announced their PlayStation 5. So why am I gonna buy a new console or buy a new PlayStation at all when I can just wait for the new one that's gonna have PlayStation 5 games that you can't play on the PlayStation 4, but I can play PlayStation 4 games on the PlayStation 5? You know what I mean? Like, why?
They're shooting They're shooting cannons at our ship and they're sinking our ship.
Oh no. Okay, I'll
I'm going to the ship.
God. We gotta move it. I'll you want to pull the anchor? Get us moving. I'll start.
He just shot me off the boat.
I'll bail some water. We are not gonna lose our chest.
Goodness. They just slapped me with that cannon. Okay, hold on. I got some planks.
Wait, do we have water?
Oh,
yeah, we do.
You think we're going to? I'm gonna start repairing. Right. Oh my goodness.
Alright, repair some. I'm gonna pull anchor. I'm just gonna move us in an area where they can't shoot at us.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's how I feel about that. It's it's kind of like what we were expecting. They were going to come out with, it had been rumored the discless
Yeah,
system. Just 250 is not the price point I was thinking. And I was thinking a bit
yeah,
cheaper.
no.
Yeah.
I was too. I think a lot of people were too, and I think that took a lot of people by surprise. And people were like, well, okay, what? Just again, like you said, this is the end of the life cycle. Like everyone knows the next generation's coming. So why would you make me pay
Right.
that much for something that's at the end of its life cycle? That's the weird part to me. I'm like,
But again,
what
unless,
do you
like
do?
I was saying, unless this is just what is going to be the next thing, like you'll still be able to play this for years and years to come. Uh,
Yeah,
that just might be what it is. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so I've been playing when I was on the road recently in Toronto. Um, Playing State of Decay, playing a little bit of Apex Legends. What else was I playing while? Yeah, I guess those two things on my computer. I was using a new controller. Usually I use the mouse and keyboard when I'm on the computer, but I was using this new controller that I got, the Astro C40 Tournament Ready Edition uh, Pro controller. It's like a Pro controller. It's like the Xbox Elite controller for PlayStation. It's not made by PlayStation. It's made by Astro. Makes the headset that I'm using right now, and they're known for their headsets and things like that.
Hmm. Yep,
But
I know about them.
this is this is their first dip into controllers. I really like this controller. It's real. So let me tell you a little about it. The main feature that kind of got me was I like a more premium feeling controller. My brother has the Elite controller, and I love going over there and like holding
Yeah,
it. Like I just love like the way it
yeah,
feels. It's it's a well built controller. It's got the nice back buttons in the back, so you don't have to take your fingers off the stick. You can remap your front buttons to the back. I just really like that, and I've been looking. The PlayStation 4 controller is not my favorite because I do not like parallel analog sticks. The
yep,
way my hand wants to work, I don't like the thumbs near each other. I like one up and one the staggered sticks, which is like what the Xbox is. This controller allows you to move your peripherals around, so you can move the D-pad around to up where the PlayStation one is, or you can move it down to where the Xbox one is. Joysticks around. It makes it
that's really
modular like
cool.
that. Very cool. Very easy to do. It's very well built. It's like a nice sturdy controller. It's a little bit bigger than the PlayStation 4, which bodes well for I've decently sized hands, and I always felt like my hands were too big for the PlayStation 4 controller. Um,
Yep.
so this one fits nice. It has like the nice soft rubber feel. Like, I don't even know, soft touch plastic. It's like it
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
like
It's like
rubber,
a
but it's.
texturized. Yep.
Yeah, it's smooth. It feels like rubber, but it's not. It's more like plastic. Anyway, feels great, performs great. You can do it in wired and wireless mode. Um, you can and then when I plug it into my computer, there's a whole software program that goes with it. But you can dial in how sensitive you want the triggers to be. Like, I mean, you could breathe. You could set it so you breathe on one of the triggers and you start. If you're playing a first-person shooter, you start shooting. Like it can be. You can make it that sensitive. You can also make
Yep.
like
So it's very much like the
yeah.
Elite controller then.
Yes, it is. It's like I said. It's the Elite controller for PlayStation. Yeah, it's the Elite controller for PlayStation. Um, very much enjoying it.
I've seen I've
Yeah,
seen some pretty cool things on that controller. So when you kind of put that on there, I was like, oh sweet, you actually got it because that's.
yeah.
But it sounds like it's just it's the PlayStation's version, also PC, because I'm pretty sure you can use it with your PC too.
Yes, correct.
Version of the Xbox Elite controller. And I'm like, that's cool,
Yeah,
because they needed one, and this like I love my Xbox One Elite controller. Granted, I got this thing on sale, and that's the best way to do it. Like
yeah.
no joke, this thing is awesome though. And actually, I think I saw it again. Wario64 posted, and that there's a deal. You
Got
can get
it.
an Xbox One Elite controller for like $90 right now.
Oh, really? That's a
Yeah,
great deal. That is a great deal for
yeah,
that controller. Yeah. I love it. This controller was a bit pricey. It was $200. I had it pre-ordered for a long time. But when this first show, I love Astro. I've been using their headsets for almost I guess almost 4 years now. Um, and I always like the quality of what they make. So the quality of the products they make. So this was a no-brainer for me. I knew this was going to be a great product. It comes in a nice carrying case. They promised new directional pads, like you can swap off new directional pads in the
Mm.
future, colored face customization, things like that. So I'm looking forward to what's to come with it. But it's a great controller. I feel like this is a placebo effect, but I do feel like I'm better with the controller. I feel like on Apex Legends, I am a better player. Whether or not that's true, that I'm sticking by that.
That's funny.
I found the chest on the other side.
Okay.
Pick it up.
But yeah, talking, elite controllers, pro controllers, esports.
Yes, I
Get into our
believe
esports
that.
section.
Yeah, I believe that actually some of the I don't know who they were and what league they played for, but some esports players are sponsored by Astro and are using
Hmm.
the C40 in tournament situation in esports.
Ah,
Yeah,
I know that like again, E United they're sponsored by Astro. Um,
yeah.
it's all over their Twitter all the time, so that's just something you just see. So I know for a fact that they are. So yeah, there are a lot of people, and I know there's a lot of people like individuals who are sponsored, who they um like you can get like a special skin on your controller if you use their code when you go to checkout or something. And so yeah,
Oh, cool.
Astro is it's huge in the gaming industry and like the controllers and stuff and the headsets and everything. So oh, sorry, little piggy, I'm drowning the pig on accident.
Seeing you.
I didn't mean to. I found a
So,
pig.
so what's happening in the world? What's happening? I wonder what we're gonna get for that. I think I've
I
ever
have no
traded in a
idea, but I
pig.
found a pig in a cage. Actually, I captured him, but he's my little guy. He's gonna go right here. He's our navigator.
All right, let's figure out
That's
where
it.
we're
That
gonna
was that
trade.
was everything. So yeah,
We're gonna
yeah,
trade it
but
in.
so okay, so in the Call of Duty, cross division play ended last week, or there was nothing going on last week. So cross division play ended. Um, and that actually it was kind of interesting. That set up the pools for uh, London, and that the London tournament is the next big tournament that they're having. And so that one is going on between May 3rd and 5th. And so for the first place in your division gave you seed A in pool, or seed one in pool A, and then what else? And so on and so forth type of thing. And so it was it was nice to kind of see that, like how to kind of see how the season per se um, progresses and how it affects, how like these little things affect it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of nice to see. But yeah, so yeah, United's in Pool C. They were second in their division, so they got seed one in Pool C. And there's like again, so with this season, and I cannot wait for Call of Duty to get franchises, because the stuff that's going on is just crazy. Again, there's just so many of these organizations who are they're just they're not right to their players, and these guys are just getting screwed out over, and it's kind of just it's really sad. Um, but like there's one where there's spots being sold. So teams won under an organization, or they won under themselves, got picked up by an organization, and now those organizations are selling the spot that they own, because they're just like, no, we can't pay it, we can't pay our players. And so these guys are basically losing their jobs. It's just like, man,
Yikes.
that just kind of sucks. But
Yeah, that
they're not
sucks.
even, sometimes they're not even losing their jobs. They're just like, yeah, we're just gonna sell the whole team, and we just can't pay you. Like one squad was told to that they couldn't pay rent on the house that they were living in, and basically told the whole team that they were getting kicked out at the end of the month.
Yikes.
And like you guys need to get out of it. And this was at the end of March. And so in
Ah,
April, another coach, another owner of a different organization was like, "Hey, I got you guys. I'm gonna pay you guys' rent for the next 2 months, so you guys don't
that's
have to go,
awesome.
or like next month." Yeah, and again, it's again like after bad things happen, other good people come in and step in and like, no, hey, I got you guys. Don't stress about it. Like, I will take care of this one burden. You guys, there's gonna be other things you need to take care of, but I'm gonna take care of this one thing.
That's
But
nice.
yeah, there's a lot. I think the whole selling of a spot that these players earned, and they're just those that team is losing everything, and then you have a team that they didn't make it. They physically did not qualify. Like they went through all the same trials of fire, and they just didn't make it through. Are now getting their way chance to make it because they have money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's just messed up.
Yeah, that is messed up.
So
So next year they're definitely switching over to franchises. That's happening for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yep. They already announced that earlier, and so
Nice.
I'm very happy for that because I think it'll structure it a lot better, and it's just like it's called Rostermania, and it's literally a joke right now. Because once it hits, once the 2 weeks of play have ended, it's like, all right, who's gonna be on your team? Like, who's still gonna be on the team with you? You really
Yeah.
don't know. Like, that's just sucky.
Yeah,
But
that's shitty. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we can talk about a
Overwatch
trade
League.
though.
Oh yeah. You don't want the Overwatch League trade?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it in the past. We
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
the RCK getting traded to from Dallas. So I'm keeping up with. By the way, I'm keeping up with Overwatch League a little bit more now. So I can kind of talk this with you. And I added this one little bit. And but yeah, so RCK got traded from Dallas to Boston, and Boston lost Note. And I don't know
Yes.
if you saw this, but
You start trading
Note
treasure.
went off.
Yeah. Oh
Note
yeah.
went off this
He's
week.
awesome. He's awesome. He's great.
Like, oh my goodness, dude, that was
And they're 3-0?
crazy. They're 3-0 this week. Yep, this
Yeah.
weekend.
Awesome.
So that was pretty cool. So I'll let you. But this is your section. I'm sorry. I just
No,
had to
no. I
because
love that
because
I love your
because he
involvement.
came. Yeah. But because he came from Boston Uprising, I was just like I was kind of giddy about it, like, haha, look at this, we got one on you, and I
He
was like, haha.
Well, so the Boston Uprising are 2-1, so not as good as Dallas's. Perfect.
Who'd they lose to?
They lost to the Spark, the Shauzen Spark,
Okay.
or it's one of the I don't know where they're from actually, and I can't really pronounce the name, but Spark. It's the pink
Yeah.
the pink
Okay.
logo with the finger snap. Um, Lost to them, which is kind of like they're not a great team, so I think it was just a kind of a slip. But RCK Rick, he's been killing it as well for the Boston Uprising. He was the elimination leader, and I know eliminations is not a good measure of how good you are in
But he's a tank.
Overwatch League. But yeah, I know, right? He's been killing it. He was leading, I believe, up until this point. He's been leading the Boston Uprising in eliminations for stage 2, which is really awesome.
Damn.
So he's meshing well. And I know that like I said, they're not undefeated, but 2-1 is better than what they started off stage 1. So I think they're in a good place.
Yep.
On Saturday they play the Spitfire. Spitfire is a very good team. And so we'll kind of know more what the Boston Uprising are made of after Saturday, whether they go to 2-2 or they go up to 3-1. We'll see what they're made of on Saturday for sure. I'm just
Yep.
so happy how popular it's getting, and like I mean you're clearly like you've gotten attached to the Dallas Fuel, and so now you're kind of like sticking with it. It's so much easier to stick with an organization
Oh,
like
yeah.
this where they have like logos, they have mascots, they have players that are like in eSports news, and you know them, and they're wearing jerseys with their names on the back of it. It feels more like traditional sports, and I think it's easier to like root and like follow things like that. So it's really cool. I think
Oh yeah.
yeah, like we talked about it before, but going forward, that's the way I think that a lot of esports are going to go with franchising and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what's happening in
Yep.
Overwatch League. Nothing too exciting, but we're in the middle of stage 2, and before we know it, it'll be stage 2 playoffs, and hopefully Boston Uprising will be there.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, looking at the standings, Dallas Fuel was like 5th or 6th, and Boston Uprising was, I think, 8th or
Yeah.
7th.
Yeah,
like
so
not
right
too
at the
far behind.
cutoff.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think both of them are kind of like right there on the fringe, and just it's all going to depend on what happens, this week. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm definitely getting into it more because, like you said, you got the franchises and you got like I picked Dallas-Fuel because that's the closest team to me, and you get that ability to latch on. It's like picking a basketball team or a football team. Like, oh, I grew up here, so that's the team I grew for. It's like very very similar, and
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. So it
Yep.
makes it easy.
Very good. Very good. Want to do another treasure mission?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't care. I just threw it on. I threw it on the table. So
Oh, perfect. Anything else you
let's
want
see
to talk
what we
about on the
got.
podcast?
No, man. I'm just. I'm actually really sorry. I haven't. I just want to talk about Sea of Thieves real fast. It was the fact that I hadn't played this game since it came out, which is I think it was a year ago now. I think this game has been out for a year now, and I haven't played it forever because I played it right when it came out. I had a few friends we played it, but we just never really got into it because it was hard. Back then there wasn't the 3-person boat, and so we were always having like 3 people would be on, or we'd have 5 people on, and it was always just like, oh well, someone's being left out, or we had to man the galleon ship, and it was a pain.
Yeah.
And personally, I actually really enjoyed this little boat because this thing is just I think is one of the better ones. It's so much easier to maneuver and do things even solo.
It's great. It's great for
But
quick
yeah,
little treasure runs. It does suck when you get run
yep,
up on by a galleon, though. It definitely is not
yes,
great.
yes, it does. No, the game is this game is just it's such an awesome game, and I don't know if you saw the sunset when we were sailing at one point. I just
Oh
looked
yeah.
at it through the periscope, and I'm like, dude, that's just gorgeous.
Oh
Like, it's
yeah.
awesome. So
It's a great looking game.
I, did-
It really
I'm
is.
glad. I'm glad that we chose this game, and I definitely need to put a little bit more time into this game again because I really do enjoy this game. I think this is it's a very relaxing, chill game where it's like I personally I love the riddles. Sitting there, we had a riddle one, and we were going around the entire time trying to figure out what exactly was it that we were supposed to be
Yeah.
doing. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. There's a ship right
But
there
yeah.
off our port side. I want to avoid them.
Okay, port side. Dude, you
Left.
were. Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm like port side. Okay, sure. Let's just.
Yeah, left side. Sorry, I sounded like a big asshole just now. Yeah, left
I
side.
see him.
I think that they're. I don't know what they're
Where is
doing,
that?
but let's not be involved with them at all. Let's go to this island first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got anything you wanna close with?
No, that's it. It's good to be back to next week. I will. So unless we record on Monday, I'll probably have to record from down in DC next week. So unless we can
Okay.
talk about it later. But yeah, next week we'll be back again. I'm excited to go back to back again.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm back to playing games. My hand feels better, and now with Game Pass, I got a bunch of games I'm ready to play. So
I got a ton of games. I added today on my playlist on Game Pass just by sitting there scrolling through, just
oh
finding
yeah,
games. I was like, oh goodness, my backlog just got bigger, and I was like, this is not
oh
good.
yeah, yep, not good at all.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna get back at this. Feel free to come watch us on Tuesday nights on twitch.tv/whengaming. And out like the whole concept of this is that we sit here and we record our podcast for an hour and a half is usually kind of what we go for, and then we want people to jump in. So if you're a viewer or that we always start at 8:30 Central Eastern. Is kind of when we start recording at least, and but we want people to jump in. So like even like right now, if there's anybody out there that would want to have played Sea of Thieves, this would have been a perfect time to come in and jump with us. But yeah, if you ever want to just play with us, you always just message one of us. My gamer tag and my Twitter handle is Silo Sword, and then Matt is Hot-Blooded40 on Xbox. And then, are you that on PlayStation too? By the way, I don't know. I don't have
Now,
PlayStation.
no, unfortunately, oh god, there's a cannon. Unfortunately, I didn't get hot blooded on Xbox, so I had to make it Hot Blooded 40. But on everything else, on PlayStation, on Yeah, well, I guess just on PlayStation, I'm hot blooded, so just hot blooded. And then on Xbox, I'm hot blooded 40. I had to add the number at the end. 40, fun fact, is for Tampa Bay Buccaneers all-time great fullback Mike Allstott, number 40. That's what that's for.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, come play.
All right. Well, yeah, and then but yeah. So you invite us, send us a message, and then also you can find us on our Twitter, which is @WhenGaming. We're starting to post more. We're starting to be a little bit more active, and kind of putting out the things that we're interested in, and so just feel free to ask us questions or shoot us some comments or shoot us anything. So on there too. So be sure to follow us on all platforms.
If you follow us on at if you follow us on Twitter @WhenGaming, and you say hello to us, just say hello on our Twitter, I will tell you a joke. I'll tell you a funny joke.
Ooh.
I promise it'll be funny, and I promise it won't be cheesy. So come on Twitter and say hello to us, and yeah, just say hello, and you'll get a joke. There you go.
There
That's
you go.
promise
That's
for a joke.
enticing.
Is it? I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll see if we have any takers. Sounds good. Sounds good.